Finally tonight, a UFO mystery in Adelaide. A resident has videotaped strange lights in the sky. The man is at a loss to explain the sighting, but a UFO expert is in no doubt.
Around 10 o'clock on June the 7th, these lights were seen travelling from south to north above Adelaide. It was a clear night, and from the foothills suburb of Taringi, Paco Navidad had a perfect view.
Well, they just appear in a form, one in front, three behind and another three behind.
By the time Mr Navidad grabbed his video camera, they were almost gone, but the sighting has confounded him.
I've never seen something like this in my life. That's why I went out and got the video, because I see planes every night, I see falling stars, I see many things, but never seen this before.
A close inspection of the images reveals what appears to be smaller flashing lights on one of the objects, two above and one below. UFO expert Colin Norris believes there's no doubt what Mr Navidad's video camera captured.
And the way that the chappie described it as coming across the sky rules out all flares and that type of thing. So, the good old word UFO, I believe it to be that exactly. So it's extraterrestrial in my opinion.
Mr Norris says he received a number of other reports of orange lights in the sky on that night, but Adelaide Airport says it has no record of any unusual aircraft activity that night. The incident follows a spectacular sighting in the Queensland town of Gladstone last month, also recorded on video. Mark Smith, 10 News.
You never know. Queenslanders have their eyes fixed to the sky tonight after a witness caught on video what may be a UFO. There have been reports filtering in from a 600-kilometre area ranging from Rockhampton to the Gold Coast.
This is the UFO Gladstone residents reported on Wednesday night.
The light was going from that area to that area, but there was no trail of light. It was just there 1 minute and here another minute.
Joan Mann was overwhelmed when she spotted it as she drove home from netball.
I raced into the driveway and I took off over to Margaret's to make sure she'd seen it. People think I wasn't the only one seeing this, and she come out.
Reported sightings on Wednesday night all concur, a pulsating light changing from white to blue to red. But what Michelle Mulby experienced on the same night in Ipswich was different. She was home alone when windows and doors started shaking.
You could feel the energy on top of the house. It was quite incredible.
2 days earlier, Mount Morgan resident Janet Burgess saw something over the knoll near her house.
It just took off spinning, and it was blue, and it was just spinning and spinning.
The sightings remain a mystery tonight. The Air Force says it wasn't one of theirs and the Weather Bureau has no answer. Jeff Mullins, 10 News.
Stunned by what they saw, a series of strange lights which appeared and mysteriously vanished, had many thinking that Sydney was playing host to some unearthly visitors.
Mysterious, intensely bright, the objects swarmed over Sydney's southwest for almost an hour.
I just panicked. They always hide it till the very last minute and then say everyone pack your gear and go, that sort of thing on the movies, and we're thinking, oh, I hope it's not going to happen to us.
Rhonda Hewen says she felt a strange, overwhelming calm as she blazed away with her video camera.
Well, if they're going to come and get you, they come and get you, yeah.
Way north at Ryde, Matthew Windsor couldn't believe his eyes.
Planes were flying all the way around it. They must have seen it for sure.
Hard evidence of alien visitors or something more down to earth.
If we're going to be visited by aliens, I'd prefer it to be something that was a little bit more spectacular than that.
Through binoculars, Dr. Neely says he saw nothing more sinister than a flying garbage bag, fashioned into a crude hot air balloon, like the one that fell to earth in Vicky Williamson's backyard. But that doesn't explain anything up to 30 other independent sightings in the same area over the last fortnight, all of strange and very bright orange lights hovering low in the sky, sufficient to spook the most hard-bitten skeptics. Late today, however, more deflating news. The Army owning up to a salvo of ground-illuminating mortar shells fired over Holsworthy last night. But for those who prefer a more intriguing scenario, just put that in your X-file. John Collis, National 9 News.
OK, John, on the stock market.
It was thought the lights were from jets flying over the city, but the Williamtown Air Base says there were no aircraft in the air at the time.
They were travelling side by side, just travelling like in a pattern, yeah, across the sky.
This is what the Evdomowski family of Georgetown saw at around 10:15 on Monday night. While the lights are distorted on the home video, there were apparently 9 lights in all moving east towards the sea. Linda Evdomowski wasn't the only person bewildered by the lights. Mayfield and Newcastle police were inundated with calls, and RAF base Williamtown received more than 40 calls in just half an hour. Officers are now examining this video to try and determine what it was that so many people saw.
We didn't know what they were. I mean, we're joking, you know, UFOs, aliens, that kind of stuff, yeah.
And late this afternoon, it was revealed that those mystery lights may be just a prank by university students.
The locals at Wycliffe Well, 374 kilometres north of Alice Springs, have spent their nights looking at the heavens, and lights, they say, are UFOs. An attempt to capture the lights on television cameras on Monday night proved unsuccessful. Experts claimed the locals have been looking at the Star Striker. But Roadhouse owner Lou Farkas won't have a bar of that. He says what he and his staff see are lights that move around. Last night our cameras tried again, this time with success. There was a light, one bright white one and 2 others coloured red. And witnesses who couldn't believe their eyes.
Yeah, well, you just don't know what to think. When it's gone, you think, well, I wonder if I did see it at all.
RAAF personnel at Tyndall Air Force Base are making no comment, saying all they know about the lights is what they see in the local media. But the local Alikarung people say they've known about the lights for many years. Jeff Mullins, 10 News.
And still on all things strange and supernatural, Ron, you've been looking into your own mystery.
Well, yeah, Juanita, we're asking questions like, is it possible that bunyips and yowies, even thylacines, still roam the Australian bush? There have been thousands of sightings, and at last 2 Australian researchers have documented many of those reports. They even hint that paranormal forces may be at work. For thousands of years, the Aborigines have drawn pictures of strange creatures, beasts 3 times the size of men. And even since the arrival of the white man, there have been thousands of sightings, and the images are surprisingly similar. According to authors Paul Cropper and Tony Healy, the legendary bunyip was commonly sighted in the early years of settlement.
Reports tapered off radically around the turn of the century, about the time that the dams and weirs were being built across all the major river systems, so perhaps that's why they disappeared.
The last thylacine or Tasmanian tiger supposedly died in 1936, but 50 years later, reported sightings are common.
Dr. Eric Geiler, who's the world's leading authority on the thylacine, he's quite convinced they still exist.
Panther-like big cat sightings have been particularly common around the New England region of New South Wales.
Out of all of the animal mysteries that we look at in the book, they're by far the most numerous. I mean, there must be over 3,000 reports now of big cats.
Right. From a cynic's point of view, the first thing to be called into question is the validity of the reports.
In fact, in one of the chapters, which is on the Yowie, we have a sighting by a National Party Senator, Bill O'Chee. He claims that in 1977 he was one of, must have been 20 or 30 people who saw a Yowie at Springbrook, which is in the hinterland region behind the Gold Coast, and it's a very, very good sighting.
The authors say they've checked out all the logical explanations, like escaped zoo animals, but none of them holds water. That would seem to leave only one possibility, the paranormal.
And all those sheep and cattle, even horses, and even cattle dogs just killed and eaten with surgical precision out there in the bush. That indicates that there is a physical reality as well. So,
the book, titled Out of the Shadows, is now available in bookstores. Believe it or not. Now